since we've touched on Marxism, here's another parallel. When the Soviet Union collapses, the first national experiment in a socialist economy, Marxists were confronted with a really serious problem, because what was done in Russia was done in the name of Marxism. We are Marxists building a socialist economy. So the Russians had a real serious problem. You fell apart. The thing you created wasn't sustainable. We have the proof. It's gone. It fell apart. Everybody who wasn't a Marxist piled in and said, you failed because socialism doesn't work. I don't know, kind of a quickie summary of the story. Now, the Marxists either had to come up with their own alternative explanation, or they'd be stuck with a very bad result, because the argument of the rest of the world, or much of it, was that here is the proof that socialism isn't innovative. It doesn't allow building business. Socialism doesn't work, right? And it forced Marxists to go back and say, what did we get wrong? What did we not see? We didn't see that this experiment would fall apart. Not even by some outside invasion or war. None of it. It just fell apart. We missed something. We better ask pretty basic questions about our analytical framework, Marxism. Or to say the same thing in other words, Marxists had better come up with their own explanation of what happened, or else the notion that socialism doesn't work will kind of take the day. It will have won the debate. And so a variety of people, myself included, did that. I spent 10 years of my life writing a book with my colleague Stephen Resnick, a man that I worked with, also a professor of economics like me. We spent 10 years writing a book on what happened to the Soviet Union. Why did it fall apart? And what does that tell us? And the bottom line, your audience might be interested. The book is available. It's in print. You can get it.
What's it called?
What's called? Theory, wrong title. Theory and History, Capitalism and Communism in the USSR. So published by Routledge, a big international publishing house. Routledge, available in English all over the world. Been translated into a bunch of other languages too. Anyway, here's what we found, just to give you an idea of how basic we asked the question, which is what I'm demanding in a sense of people who misunderstood where the United States was going relative to China. We came to the conclusion that the notion of socialism and communism had been taken in a direction after Marx's death by his followers that we believe produced an unfortunate outcome. And the outcome was that socialists thought that what they were about was to go beyond capitalism in the sense of depriving private owners of the means of production, private entrepreneurs, from their position and their power in order to collectivize, to make the economy something the community as a whole undertakes, not private subgroups. Because of the contradiction. The simple idea that if a private group of people are running an enterprise, they run it to maximize that enterprise, not the needs of society, and that those don't always work out, and that the society's needs can go unfulfilled because the privates don't do what you would need to do to fill them. An old idea fleshed out in a century of writing by socialists, mostly in the 19th century. And so they ended up with a tension between the private enterprise and the state as the representative of the community as a whole, which should, and Russia makes a revolution, gets rid of the private enterprises and replaces them with state-owned and operated. So that indeed the whole 20th century is an endless debate between the private and the public. Capitalism, United States, private, versus socialism, Soviet Union, public.